Nana broadcasting live from Montreal, Canada. I'd love for you to put in the comments if you have a second, where you are watching from. If you're in the States, if you're somewhere else in Canada, maybe you're overseas, you can let us know. And also in a few moments, as we go through the live stream, we're going to have some audience questions, which we're super excited about because we have some winners who joined our contest. And so we are looking forward to having them ask Tina some questions. So I'm just going to see here. And I think we have Tina coming in right now. I just want to give a shout out to Carolyn Van Vlartigan, who's one of our newscasters here in Montreal, and she's just joined the live stream. And I have to say hi to her because she's one of the best reporters you will ever meet. So Caroline, thank you so much for hanging out on my live stream tonight. And just waiting for Tina to join us. I'm going to request her again. I see that there's a little bit of an issue, so we'll see if we can get her in here. And again, if you're just tuning in, please let me know where you are watching us from. And there she is, Tina Landon. There we are.
I made it.
You did. I know how much you love technology. So
oof, yeah, besties.
Besties. That's amazing. Well, we are super excited to welcome the one and only Tina Landon. And thank you so much to everyone who is joining us for the live stream tonight. And please, again, as you're watching, we've got some people watching from Los Angeles. Please put in the comments where you're watching us from, because we'd love to know where you are. We've got somebody from Charlotte, North Carolina, so keep the comments coming. San Antonio, Texas, this is great. So just before we start, or as we're starting, again, my name is Kelly Alexander, a radio and television announcer from Montreal, Canada. You can follow me obviously here at Kelly Alexander and on on Twitter at Kelly Alexander. The one and only Tina Landon, so make sure that you are following her also on Instagram at I am Tina Landon. And we have a very special live stream for you tonight. We are going to talk about a few topics, including the fact that right around this time, back in 1997, so 26 years ago, T, it was your appearance with Janet and the team on the Oprah Winfrey Show. So we're excited to talk about that. We have Sydney, Australia. Somebody's watching from Sydney, Australia. That's amazing. And Benji's in Wisconsin. Benji, by the way, is one of our winners, so we're going to get to him. So also wanted to mention, just before we kick into questions, if you are new to us and haven't known about this yet, Tina and I actually host a program called Just Dance, and you can grab it at HiPage, so hy.page/Kelly Alexander Show. And that show is Tina and I interviewing other A-list choreographers like Tina Landon, talking about their rise in their career and their rise to fame and who they've worked with and the hard work that's gone into it. And I have to tell you, being a fly on the wall, watching Tina talking to these other choreographers like Marty Kudelka, who we know works with Justin Timberlake, it's just absolutely amazing to watch these two back and forth. And then we've had Allison Falk on the show, who of course works with Channing Tatum with the Magic Mike franchise. Who else? We've got Brian and Scott Nicholson, Ariana Grande's choreographers. So the list goes on and on. We would love for you to subscribe. So hy.page/Kelly Alexander Show. And throughout our live stream tonight, we do have some surprises. We're going to announce the next 3 guests that are actually coming up on Just Dance. And we're very excited about that. So that's coming up in just a sec. So Tina, I did want to mention too, just before we kick in, we actually dropped our latest episode of Just Dance this morning with Dave Scott. Hey! And so Dave Scott has, worked with everybody, including you, when you guys did the MTV Video Music Awards with Janet, the tribute for Michael Jackson after he passed away in 2009. I don't want to spill the beans too much, but I did just want to ask you, I guess as the first question, what was it like reminiscing with Dave about that special time doing the awards, the tribute to Michael?
I just love Dave so much. It's funny because we had never worked together before, but we bonded on that job quickly. And as dancers know, there's just people that you bond with right away. So he was kind of and maybe it's just because he's so freaking tall, just he was my big brother on that job, and we were always dancing together. It's funny because we don't get to talk about that stuff a lot because we're just always moving forward, next job, next artist. So when we get a chance to go back and there's things that obviously I forget all the time because my mind's all over the place. But it's nice to like sit with somebody who shared the same experience, but also shared something different because just of who they are and what it meant to them. So it was, it's always great to go down memory lane, but with Dave, he's just such a funny guy, like, and he's just such a joy to be around. So it was just fun.
It was amazing. And also we talked a lot about his process for doing the dance movies. Like You Got Served, which was one of the best dance movies I've ever seen in my entire life. Not to mention Stomp the Yard, his work on Coach Carter, and working extensively with B2K, as well as Immature. So it's a really great interview. We'd love for you to watch it. The interview again is on our Just Dance page, so hy.page/Kelly Alexander Show. So I'm going to drop the first guest just so that we're going to start it off right away, so that the first guest that's going to be coming up, we will say that he's our Christmas surprise, our early Christmas gift. And so the next guest of Just Dance with Kelly and Tina is going to be Travis Payne, who... Yes, we're super excited about this. And we recorded the interview just a little while ago, and it was eye-opening for me as a fan to watch you and Travis talk about your experience working on the Scream project. So again, I don't want to give the surprises away from the interview that people will watch on December 24th. So it's an early Christmas gift on Christmas Eve. It's going to drop at 10 a.m. But I did want to ask you, when we had Travis on the show, when we recorded the interview, this was the first time you and Travis talked about the Scream experience on camera. So can you just share a few thoughts about what that was like for you? Because I feel like you got information from that interview through him that you didn't even know you had or needed when you were doing the job.
Yeah, it was, what's crazy?
Oh, we may have lost you for a second. Can you hear us, T? Oh, let's see. I think we lost your audio. Can you hear us? 1 second. I can't hear you. Nope. Let's give it. There you are. I think you're back. Yes, go ahead.
All right. I don't, me. Somebody was calling, so I'm like, well, I see that somebody's calling, but I don't know how to. Anyway, I didn't know. And then you're like, why is she talking when I'm talking? Oh, she can't. Okay, so I'll start over. What I was saying was that it's not only the first time that Travis and I had spoken about it or reminisced about it on camera. It's actually the first time we reminisced about it at all because, again, it's like next artist, next job. You're always moving forward. And even though Travis and I have seen each other, we actually performed that at a Dancers Alliance, what would you call it? Not festival, but, gathering. And we just talked about the choreography and like what we remembered, what we forgot and stuff like that. So we never really ever spoke about it the way we do on the show. And without giving too much away, it really did shed some light because even though you see Michael and Janet together on video, we were two separate camps almost entirely shooting that video for all kinds of reasons, just time of day and who shot when and stuff like that. But he definitely shed more light about what was going on in their camp and even just how Michael works, because that was my one and only time really working with him as a choreographer. I was a dancer in Smooth Criminal, and so I knew kind of how he worked then, but still it was different because I wasn't in the inner circle. I was a dancer. I showed up for rehearsal. He didn't really talk to us. He came in, did his thing, talked to the choreographers, and then would leave, and we would, Vince Patterson was re-choreographing all over again. But, and Travis shared a lot of light about that too, about how Michael approaches choreography, how he thinks about it, what he expects from his dancers. So it was really, really eye-opening for me. It was really kind of, it's just like you think you know so much about other people and the way they work, whether they're an artist or a choreographer. Not that choreographers aren't artists, but I mean, music star versus somebody who's working on their choreography for that star. It's really very interesting, which is what I love so much about our show, is that a lot of these people are my colleagues. We all grew up together, like in dance, right? And we all saw each other, but unless you really became close friends or like hung out on the phone or you're always just kind of talking about the next job or the current job that you're on in that moment, and then it's fleeting, right? It's just gone. So it was really great. So you guys should really tune into our show because we have so many fun stories.
And I will say, just again as like a fly on the wall, I interviewed you back in 2015 for the 20th anniversary of Scream, and then I also interviewed Travis that same year again for the 20th anniversary of Scream. And so, I've spoken to you both about it, but it was something like magical having the two of you on screen together. I guess just bouncing back and forth because like you would each sort of trigger a memory. And so again, even though I did this in-depth interview with you in 2015, same thing with Travis in 2015, like I learned stuff about the Scream video set that I didn't know just because you two were able to bounce off each other. So it's absolutely phenomenal. I feel super grateful that I was able to be a part of it. And again, we invite you to watch the Travis Payne interview that will drop on Just Dance on December 24th, hy.page/Kelly Alexander Show. Hit subscribe and away you go. So now, T, are you ready for your first question from the audience?
Yes.
Okay. So I know he's watching right now, and we're going to just see if I can get him in. Mikey Garcia, here we go. Let's see if we can get, I've just let him into the stream. We'll see if he pops up. Give him a second here.
Oh, shit, hold on. I'm going to switch it. Hey.
There he is. Mikey, thank you for joining us, and congratulations for being one of our winners for the contest to ask Tina a question live on the live stream. So without further ado, Mikey, what question would you like to ask Tina Landon?
I would love to know how she feels about music videos and dance today compared to back then.
Oh, Lord, you got me live. I can't even edit this stuff. I have to be careful. You know what? I will say, first of all, like it's very different, right? In that I feel like there is something lost today because of so much accessibility to artists, right? You get to see them all the time. There's no really secrecy behind them, and there's no real excitement to see kind of the choreography. And I think that the biggest trap, did we lose him or just his picture?
Still there. Yep. Oh, so maybe I think he's listening. Go ahead. Just go ahead. Yeah.
So I feel like because the world's moving so fast through social media, right? It's just like everyone's got a 2-second attention span, and then they're on to the next. And I think that puts a lot of pressure on artists, right? They don't want to become boring. I think they feel that if they do the same show or the same performance back to back, like, when they do the rounds, when they do like David Letterman, Jimmy Kimmel, blah, 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 it always has to be different. To me, the problem with that is we don't get bored. We love you, right? Whether it's Beyonce or Taylor or Janet, it's like we want to soak it in. And when you're changing all the time, it's just like, it's kind of like images just doing this in front of your face, right? You don't really get to feel it. You don't get to connect to it. And to me, that's kind of the biggest problem that I see just overall. Like, yeah, I mean, people, like, these are all fans, so they know, like, when Got Till It's Gone came out, that was the single, and we did that everywhere. In Europe, we did it in Japan, we did the one song, and we did it the one performance. The only thing we did different was we changed our outfits, right? We had some cool velvet outfits, and we're like, after we danced in those, we can't wear these on stage. We will die in a tour. So we changed the costumes, but that's what gave the audience and the fans like time to learn the choreography, to be part of the whole experience. So to me, that's kind of like the biggest thing and because of that, you don't feel the emotion. You don't get anything from the choreography because it's going so fast. And again, it's different on every performance. So there's nothing to grab and like hold on to. And when the artist comes out, you don't get to dance with them while you guys are at the show watching, right? So that's my answer, Mikey. I hope I answered it good.
Perfect. And I do think we lost him for a second. I'm just going to see if I can, because now he's stuck on the screen. So So Mikey, you're stuck with us for a few minutes, but I might actually just jump. I'll see if I can grab her. Sherry, if you're there, can you just request to join? And I'm going to get your question on right away.
Well, hopefully he could still hear us.
Yeah, I'm sure he can. I think he's there. Maybe, and if he's still on, I don't know if he can drop off. I've tried to just drop him so that he can kind of watch again, but
Okay.
we'll see. So while we're waiting for Sherry to, he's not,
Tiffany, he's not stuck on this side.
oh, perfect. That's great. Well, he's stuck on my screen. Do you see him? I don't know. Anyway,
I don't see him at all. He's completely gone on my screen.
Okay.
So if
fine. So I'm going to get Sherry in just a second. Okay, great. And I'm going to just jump to the next part of our conversation, which is the fact that right around this time, again, as we mentioned off the top, that this was the year in 1997. You guys, the Janet and the team, were on the Oprah Winfrey Show in New York City, and so we're celebrating the 26th anniversary. And so I wanted to ask you, T, like, how did you find out about that performance that you guys were going to go to New York City to do the Oprah show? Because that's a big deal, first of all, that Oprah would move her show to New York City for a taping. And like, what was your initial reaction? Super excited, or?
I don't remember like the exact moment. I'm sure that it was Janet and Renee that came in. Renee used to get really excited about stuff. Janet's always very chill, right? So she doesn't get the way that we do, right? It's kind of, I think maybe inside she's excited, but I think more as a businesswoman, like, yes, this is a good thing. This is a wonderful understanding. Like, this is a good move. This is a great opportunity, blah, blah, blah. And we're all like jumping up and down like nuts going, oh my God, this is the biggest thing ever. We get to meet Oprah. What are we going to wear? It's always with dancers. What are we going to wear? What are we going to wear? So I know that we were excited. I just don't remember it like that crisp.
Okay, amazing. So now we're going to just go to letting Sherry in for her question. And let's just see if she pops up on the screen here. I'll just give her a second to see if she pops up. Oh, let's see. Wait, there she is.
Yay! Oh,
hi, Sherry.
Everyone,
yeah, I'm sitting in bed. This is great. I didn't know it was going to be live. Thank you. That's wonderful.
I love this.
Very well. And please go ahead and your question.
All right. Well, now that I'm live, this is great. I scoured the internet and came up with something way back in the day. So I was curious with MTV The Grind and the workout tapes. How did you get involved in that? And did you do the choreography for the workout tapes?
Oh, that's a great question. So here's the thing. Now it's funny. I remember this really well. So we were in Europe. That would have been the end of the Rhythm Nation tour, right? Is that the timing? So we were finishing up in Europe, and I get a call, and I'm trying to even think. I don't think at that time I didn't even have an agent at that time, but I got a call from somebody who was the producer. I'd never even heard of the show because, again, we'd been gone for 2 months. I never watched it. And somebody asked me, would I like to come and do the show? I'm like, sure. Like, what? I have no idea what I'm saying yes to. So I end up flying I'm supposed to come to LA. Instead, I flew to New York. And here I am with 2 months worth of luggage. And they put me up in this cute little hotel. I think it was called the Paramount at the time. I don't know if it's still around, but I could literally touch the walls in my room with my arms out like that. And I'm trying to, my bags don't even fit in the doorway. So I'm trying to get through, still have no clue what I'm doing. I've never hosted anything. And I was really paranoid. At this time, I had no acting experience, no hosting, nothing. But of course I said yes, right? But everyone was super, super kind. I met Eric Nice for the first time. He was very sweet to me. And he kind of gave me some tips because I was I couldn't, and I still can't, right? I'm really bad with cue cards. So it's like I'm either talking to you or I'm looking at cue cards, pretending to talk to you, and it's awful. So even in acting, I hate cold reads. It's like I got to memorize it. I got to know what I'm doing. So I'm nervous. I don't even know the new songs that are out. I just remember there was something by Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre maybe at the time that was out, but I couldn't read it right? Because I didn't know what was the song, who was the artist from, like, oh God, who was out at that time? Like Cisco, like all these people that, again, I've been in European world, Janet world. So I'm trying to read cue cards and it's just sounding like I'm reading cue cards. So it was really awful. But from that, I was told I was only going to do one, maybe, they said maybe three. They didn't want to, I don't think they wanted to pen me to anything too long just in case I was really, really bad. I was only a little bad. And then I warmed up. And then Eric taught me to wear sunglasses so I could read the cue cards. I went, oh, well, there you go. And then from there, that just spawned relationships. And they asked me to do a workout video. And I went, sure. And yes, I did have to choreograph that. And here was the hardest part was because it was a, not necessarily live, but what would you say? It was recorded live, right? So we couldn't stop and edit. Mm-hmm. So I had to time everything with the music and then how it went from this song to that song and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we ended up rehearsing for that, I want to say maybe a week. But the hardest part was working with the music editor at the time because, and this, many dancers and choreographers and teachers, you guys will understand this. Sometimes music editors just understand the beat, right? And the BPMs, but they don't understand phrasing. So they don't know where the 1 starts and the 4 or the 5 and the 8, all that stuff. So I would go, okay, let's back it up. You're coming in on 3. He's like, I'm on the beat. I go, no, but I need you to start on 1 because choreography starts on 1. You're starting on 3. And that was the hardest thing in the world for them to understand. So I had to be in there and edit all of that with them to make sure that it was being edited correctly so that our movement matched. And yeah, so that's how that happened. And it was great. I loved it.
Wow. That's amazing. You've never told me that story, T. That's amazing. That's really cool. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what it is. If you're just tuning in, thank you so much for joining us on the live stream that we're calling Tina Landon Live. And we're super excited to have Tina Landon with us. Please don't forget to follow her on Instagram at I am Tina Landon. And also at Kelly Alexander Show. That's where we do a lot of updates for our show, Just Dance. And again, if you're just tuning in, a reminder that our latest episode just dropped this morning with Dave Scott. They reminisce and Dave about their time on the MTV Video Music Awards, the tribute to Michael Jackson in 2009. And it's just amazing to hear. And also, we've let you know that on December 24th, we are having an interview with Travis Payne, who worked with Tina on the Scream video project back in 1995. So you can sign up, super easy, hy.page/Kelly Alexander Show. T, I did want to ask you just another question about the Oprah situation, the Oprah interview that went down again right around this day in 1997. So were you asked to restage anything or change things around for the performances that you guys did on the Oprah show? Because you were in that theater, you were on stage, you did Got Till It's Gone, you also did Together Again. So do you remember anything being asked specifically of you?
No, I mean, like I said, back then we did the performance the way we always did it. Yeah, I think the only thing that would have changed is obviously if there's more room on the stage, we spread it out. If there's not, we bring it in. But really, that was pretty much the same. I think we just literally changed outfits.
Okay. And I think for a lot of us, like hardcore Janet fans who, were watching that stuff back in the day, we saw Shawnette get to do her little skit with Oprah on stage. Can you tell us how that came about and what it was like to kind of be with her and watch her do that?
My gosh. Well, she would do that all the time, right? No problem in rehearsal. When it was just us we were all just clowns in rehearsal anyway. But I don't remember if it was Janet who put her up to it. Somebody put Oprah up to it. I'm assuming it was either Janet or Renee. I'm like, nobody else had Oprah's ear. So I'm going to say it was Janet. And maybe that was also the only reason that Shawnette didn't run out of the room. I honestly could not believe that she did it because I was like, there's no way there's no freaking way that Shawnette is going to do this in front of Oprah. And she did. And I just died because I knew that Oprah would just, would think it was cool or think it was, what's the word I'm looking for? A compliment. Right. And we're all just sitting there going, she's really going for it. Oh my God. And I think it was one of those like out of body experiences for her. Like, I don't think she even realized, because I think everyone was nervous anyway being around Oprah. And then if Oprah's asking you to do something, you're just like, okay, like, what, want to do it or not? And I think she just like maybe like 24 hours later was like, what, did I just do that like, in front of Oprah? It was awesome. I think it was awesome.
That's amazing. Well, it was so much fun for us to see you guys on stage with Oprah. So again, happy anniversary, happy 26th anniversary for the Oprah appearance. So I do want to move on to some other questions. This kind of popped into my head because I was watching Saturday Night Live recently, and I was watching one of the musical performances, and to me, the set looks actually very small, the stage, and I know you guys did. I'm seeing it already. So you did Throb back in 1994. And so did you have to tweak things, move things around because the set was so tiny? Because there was all of you. There was like 8 of you, I think, on stage plus the band.
Yeah, and it realistically holds about 4 people at most. That stage, it is the tiniest thing we've ever performed on. Like, actually, when I look back at that performance, the thing that really stands out to me is that you can't tell it's a small stage because all of us are on there. But yeah, you had to make sure that when we're doing this thing, that you're not kicking or stepping on the person behind you. And really, that's just being smart dancers, right? It's like, okay, we are tight. Where do our arms go so we don't smack each other on all of this stuff? It's like, and we had been dancing together for a while, in rehearsal and stuff. And just, you kind of just start to learn each other. But you really do have to be on your mark constantly, because one little slip up, we would have all fallen like dominoes. I'm telling you, that absolutely tight it was.
And how excited were you guys to get the gig? Because as far as I know, you guys hadn't been on that show before, like as Janet dancers, as part of that troupe. So was it exciting for you guys to be there? At the SNL studios.
Yeah, I have pictures. I got a picture with Adam Sandler. I got a picture with who? Big guy, and
Farley, Chris Farley.
Chris Farley. Like, to look back in my photos, like, oh my God, like, because it's one of those things that I'm really bad about. I don't look at celebrity, like people that I don't know. Like, I'm not going to ask them for photos. I never do that stuff. But I was like, this is my one shot. I'm getting a picture with everybody here that I absolutely can. So, are you kidding? We were so excited and so giddy about. I mean, that's kind of one of the biggest stages. I mean, I know, yes, Oprah's big, Grammys are big, like they're all big, but there's just that some special essence about SNL to be able to, and it's live, so you're like, well, we're going to do what we do and see what happens. So, yeah, to this day, it's like, I still love that performance. I love the way it looked. I love the way it felt. I know that it was people that maybe hadn't gone to the concert, got to see Janet really in a different light, kind of, So, yeah, I loved everything about doing that show, but especially the backstage. That was my favorite.
And I have to ask you guys quickly about the costumes, T, because like I never saw you guys in that wardrobe before, like because I saw the tour and I don't remember that. So,
yeah, I mean, I just remember like I said, we didn't change choreography, but we always changed wardrobe. Mm-hmm. And I can't remember now who did our wardrobe at the time, but it was basically, they bring in racks. And this was kind of the cool thing. They would bring in racks and we kind of would just all go, yeah, I think I like this. And we just tried on a bunch of stuff until we found something that worked for us. And then we'd go show Janet and she'd either say yes, no, or she never said no. This is what Janet would do. Like, especially because she wanted everyone to feel comfortable. And she's still that way today. You could tell with her dancers, like even if she loves it on you, but can tell that you don't love it on you, she'll just say, well, then change it. Like, she wants you to feel good on stage. So if if I wasn't feeling good about something, I'd go, what do you think? And she'd go like, do you like it? I'm like, oh, I hate it. I know what that means. That means you don't like it. She said, no. I did say, yeah, I do like it. She's like, okay, cool. So sometimes that do you like it meant she didn't like it, but she didn't want to tell you. And then sometimes she just wanted to make sure that you felt good in what you wore. So that was always a challenge for me to find something, because I'm like, as dancers, as women, oh, this makes me look fat. This makes me, this is too tight. and everyone, I think the great thing about that is that everybody had their own look, right? And that was kind of around the whole, I know it's a different time but it makes me think of Together Again, right? Where we all had kind of this earthy, funky, clubby Afro look. Like it was kind of this very abstract look. But yeah, I mean, we had great wardrobe stylists that would just bring us great clothes to try on. So they never really had to go back out and shop. It was just mix and match. Like, well, Nikki, are you going to wear that? Nikki should be in a skirt. She's got nice legs. Like we'd all almost kind of dress each other. It was kind of fun.
Oh, that's cute. So I'm going to let you know that we're going to bring in our next question from the audience. So Benji, if you can request for me, and I'm going to come to you in just a sec. And again, congratulations going out to Mikey Garcia and to Sherry for being our other two winners of Asking Tina Landon live questions tonight. I actually saw a question that popped up on the screen, and I did want to ask you about it. Because someone wants to know about your opinion on the American Music Awards performance when you guys did the Together Again remix. So can you just share your thoughts on what that was like for you?
That was the big staircase, right? Mm-hmm. It's really funny looking back now. Okay, first of all, so I remember was that we all wanted to do that remix. And I know Janet was very hesitant because at that time she was very used to doing whatever the single was, again, wanting to always please the fans, right? And I think she was a little skeptical, like, this isn't the single. I don't know if people are going to react. And we were just dying as dancers. We're like, this is funky. Please let us dance to this. Please, 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 please. I remember we brought in, I can't remember what studio we were at, but I had them they almost brought in bleachers for us to, I can only practice this so much in my head, and we're never going to get a staircase to dance on. So we need something. So they actually brought in, it wasn't a staircase, but they were like bleachers that they made stairs for us so that we get a feel and go, okay. Yeah, that sometimes you don't need the whole thing. You just go, this works, then everything else will work. The other thing that when I look back now, really the set was so simple. And I think sometimes people go crazy with all these bells and whistles and all this stuff that takes away from the actual performance. So to me, it was a really clean look, and I think it still works today. The third thing that I remember on that, I can't remember, but if people, I'm sure they've already looked, because you know how fans are with their little microscope out. That's not a microscope. That's a magnifying glass. Okay. Just to be clear. There was something, I was so mad after that performance. I did something, and I think I either dropped my foot too soon or hit my foot. It's something on the staircase where I'm a little bit off, and that's all I could think about for the whole number, that everyone's going to see that I made this one little mistake because I kicked the back of the step or something and lost my balance. But that happens a lot to me because my brain is everywhere else. But on the, I'm like worried about Janet. Is she going to get up there in time? Worried about the dancers, making sure nobody falls off the stairs instead of just zoning into my own performance. But yeah, throughout that whole number, that was all I thought about probably for a month. Was that? Yeah.
That's great. I would have never known because you guys all looked amazing. I never thought you were off kilter. So it's crazy the person know, but then the rest, it's kind of like my grandma. I remember because she was like our choir director at church, and she used to tell me, if you mess up, just keep going because no one's going to notice anyways. So just keep.
Yeah, you have to.
So go to Benji and get him in here. Let's see here if he jumps in. So Benji again is one of our winners of the contest to Ask Tina Landon a live question tonight. So we're just going to, if I can get him in here, one sec. Benji. Hi, Benji. How are you?
How are you? Good. So, Tina, I'm really excited. I'm excited to talk with both of you. I'm excited to have this time to ask you this question. So first, I want to say that we've had a special moment back in Velvet Rope. I got to be in the front row center, and we had a moment where we kind of connected and if a little bit, and I was all like, And you're all like, so I appreciate that so much. So you're saying us dancing with you. You name it. We're there. We're with you the whole time. I was one of the kids. You could convince me that I wasn't. It was so special to me. So thank you for that. My question is going with the choreography. Of course, we know that Janet always put the choreography front and center in all of her visuals, right? So there's so much trust there. She performs at your choreography to this day on stage. We just saw it together again. She's right front center with that if breakdown. It's still that special to us, the fans. We want to see that. It stood the test of time. How does that make you feel? And looking back, was there any choreography that you would have changed and done differently?
Oh, no one's asked me that question before. Well, first of all, to part one, I think it's great. She doesn't ever have to use any or all of the choreography. I think it's important that it does mean something to the fans, and that means something to me, and I know that means something to her. So I know if she is keeping it, it means that she understands kind of where it holds its place. And I think that makes me, of course, it makes me feel special. And again, I wouldn't be hurt if she changed everything, I would expect her to evolve. And that was like one of the things I think after the Velvet Rope, I remember talking with Shawnette going like, I don't know how I can choreograph all of these numbers again and do them differently. Part of the fun I had with doing stuff was doing songs that I didn't get to choreograph, right? Like Pleasure Principle, because that was something I always wanted to do. And I didn't feel like I was changing it. Oh, I didn't feel like it was a solo number. It was her number. So to add the girls in it, which show was that? Was that the Janet tour? I think we did Pleasure Principle.
You also did Velvet Rope as well. Yeah.
But that was for the Velvet Rope.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would I change anything? That's a really good question. I would, I would probably change rope burn, only because if we were to do it again, only if we were going to, you're asking me if I would go back because I didn't like anything. I liked everything. I was very satisfied. That was my baby. Yeah. I loved that. But if I were to go back, I probably would just change rope burn because I feel like been there, done that, seen it with the poles. I would want to do something different.
Right.
And again, Rhythm Nation, I never touched. We just edited it, and I did like a intro to it that I changed, and the outro with the noon checks. I wanted to add and not take away from that number. But I don't know. You know what? I'd have to go take one number at a time and look at it. But there was nothing that I can think of right now that I look back. Oh, you know what? I would probably fine tune you just a little bit. It would depend on what we're wearing because it worked with what we were wearing. If that helps.
It was so effective with the mask on the front and the back, and then the apparatus you guys used to roll across the floor on your like it was great. So see, from my standpoint, I wouldn't change anything, but you as the creator, it's always interesting to see if you step back and if it went in the direction you originally wanted to go. So, it's interesting to know that.
Well, thank you, Benji. That was actually fun. All these questions have been great because they have all been new questions for me. I love that. So thank you.
Benji,
you're very welcome.
Thank you so much for joining, and again, thank you for entering the contest. And again, a shout out to Benji and to Mikey and to Sherry for being our winners tonight. T, are you okay to answer a few more questions before we bounce? Is that okay?
Yep, I'm all good.
Okay. Okay. One question I know that I wanted to get to that I've never asked you this, even though I know that you have worked outside of the pop space. You've worked with bands like Aerosmith, Tim McGraw, Motley Crue, Faith Hill. Can you talk to us about what it's like to work with artists that are not dance-based?
You know what? I think every show can use staging and movement. It doesn't always have to be choreography. And that's kind of what I've always loved to do, is just to make something kind of come alive and not have to do 5, 6, 7, 8 all the time, because not every artist needs that. So, for instance, working with Faith Hill was one of my dream jobs. There were no dancers. And the reason I was hired was because she was kind of coming out of a hiatus. She had taken off like 6 years to raise her kids and to be at home. And she was coming back to perform with her husband in the round. And for people who don't know what that means that there's an audience all the way around, not just in front, which is what she was always used to. So the one thing I've learned also is like, you have to be, musicians don't like to be told to move. They want to, they got their home base. They just want to stay there unless it's a guitar, guy that's doing a solo, but most of them just want to stay. So getting musicians to move is always kind of a fun challenge because I have to convince them first, like, I'm not going to make you a dancer. I'm not going to make you do choreography. I just need you to hit these marks. And then they love it. Once they kind of get out there and they feel the light on them, they're like, oh yeah, you want me here? I mean, I can do, and then they want to add, I mean, I can do this. Well, I can take part. Like, no, you're good. You're good. I just need you to get from here to there. And Faith was awesome. Faith was just, it's funny when you meet somebody who's so down to earth. She came to me at like the second rehearsal and she was like, because the first two rehearsals she couldn't make. She had other obligations. I'm like, okay, well, I don't have any dancers. I don't really have anything to do. So I'll just sit and watch the show, the run through. And then with her, I actually had to write her staging because I thought, I'm running out of time. I made diagrams on pieces of paper and go, okay, for this song, I would do like verse 1, you're going to start here. Verse 2, you're going to walk here. Verse 3, the piano play. Like I just wrote basically a booklet because I thought, well, she can look at that when she's at home. But she came to me after the second rehearsal that she had to miss. She goes, I'm so sorry. I have to leave. It's my turn to do carpool this week. And I've already bailed the last 2 weeks. I'm like, oh my God, I love you so much. You're a normal human being. Go, I'll figure it out. She was great. And then so you have that extreme. Yep. You have Motley Crue. Because I'm like, what's going to happen now when we get, because I've worked with the aerialists and staged that, even though I'd never done any aerial work before, but I could tell the poor girls, they were great sports. So I'm like, hey, can you do that thing again? And after a while, and anyone who's done aerial, like I had left them up there for God knows how long, because I don't know. And they're like, and they're dying. They're bruised. Like, Tina, can we come down? I'm like, yeah, sure, come on down. And I didn't realize that they're all tied up and they're all hanging on the things, and they make it look so easy and so flowy and beautiful. I never thought that stuff hurt until they made me get in their chains one day and they hoisted me up. They're like, yeah, how you like? I mean, it hurt. Oh. I had a chain on the back of my neck and on my feet. I'm like, let me down. Just let me down. This is awful. I felt so bad. But so I worked mainly with the girls. And then when it came time to do production rehearsals, right? You're working with a dancing artist. It's like, okay, dancers take the stage. We block, we camera, we light, we do all the stuff. And the artist comes in. So I'm standing there with Nikki Sixx and I'm just looking at the stage and like, there's no one really in charge. I didn't think that was going to be me, but it turned out to be me. I was like, okay, well, how do you want to do this? Because they were also the first time coming back together as Motley Crue, right? So there was, I don't want to say bad blood, but there was awkward blood. And, they all kind of came in at different times. I'm like, so how do you want to do this? And Nikki Sixx looks at me, he's like, well, I don't know, but we're not like Britney Spears. We're not going to like do the whole show. I went, all right, good to know. Where do you want to start? That was pretty much how that show went. Note taken. We are never doing a full run through of this show. I get it. Well, let's check out the pyro. Let's look at some fire. Let's see if that works.
Oh my God. That's so crazy. I have to ask you as well, knowing that you have Latin roots, T, and you've worked with so many Latin artists like Shakira and Ricky Martin and Jennifer Lopez, what does that mean to you to work with Latin artists?
It was like coming home in a way. You know what I mean? It was one of those things that I didn't realize the connection that was so strong for me, right? I love, as a dancer, you kind of love everything, but there's just something about being Latin, working with Latin music. It's like in your blood. It's just natural. It's like this kind of subconscious understanding of it all in a way. Not necessarily the language, so I don't speak it fluently, but yeah, there's just something that is innately in you when you are Latin and you are brought up with Latin music, that it's just like this hunger of like, yes, I want all of that. Like the first time I heard I saw Ricky Martin on TV in a hotel in Europe. And I was like, who the hell is this guy? I didn't know Menudo. I didn't know any of that. So I'm like, and I remember, you know, for those of you that believe in manifestation, I wasn't trying to. I'm like, I want to work with this guy one day. I love his music so much. And then, you know, cut to, I think it was a year after that happened.
That's fantastic. Just like 2 or 3 more questions, T, and then I'll let you go. But we had a question pop up on the stream here, which I thought was amazing. Somebody asked you, Tony Harris wants to know, is there a current pop artist right now that you would like to work with that's on your bucket list?
That's a hard one to answer, because no, it's not a hard one. No. There is, like, and it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean that these artists are not good. It's just like, I've had to work at such a top level with so many amazing people. Like I don't really have a bucket list for that anymore. I think the people that I've worked with have checked every box.
I know you have told me, though, like off screen before, that you love Kelly Clarkson. So is she still someone that would?
I love Kelly Clarkson. Yeah, possibly Kelly Clarkson. We could put her back in the bucket.
Okay. Amazing. And I know that, again, we have Travis Payne coming up on the show on December 24th. So make sure you check it out, hy.page/Kelly Alexander Show. I just wanted to quickly ask you about winning that MTV Video Music Award for Scream. You know, doing such an amazing job. What did it mean to you to win that award?
It's hard to put words to. You know, it's like, I think any artist, when they're getting lost in their stuff, I mean, it was myself and Sean Cheeseman and Travis Payne and LaBelle Smith, and it's like, when you're working on something, you're never thinking about awards, right? And at least that's what you kids should be doing. Work for what feels good in your soul. Put that out there. Put that on the artist. Awards will come, awards will go, people forget, who cares? It's like, do I appreciate it? Did it feel good? Of course. Like, that was all wonderful, but it didn't mean more than the actual time that I got to work with Michael and Janet, the opportunity to actually create to that song, right? That, to me, that was the bigger win than the actual award.
Okay. 3 last quick questions are going to be fast for you. So number 1, favorite Janet video that you were a part of? Favorite one.
Favorite Janet video?
Yeah.
Jeez Louise. You know what? That's really hard, because the shooting of the video doesn't necessarily equal the outcome, right? So, for instance, when we did Escapade, I had full-blown tonsillitis during that shoot. It was the most miserable shoot because it was freezing cold. I kept running back to the trailer trying to get warm. And I didn't have a doctor, and it was Janet who got me a doctor first thing in the morning, and I went to go see her doctor because anyone who's had tonsillitis knows it's just like swallowing razor blades. You want this? We were out in the desert getting sand in our teeth as we're driving around those cars. So it's not so much the shoots that were fun. I loved the You Want This video. I loved Together Again video. I mean, they were also visual and beautiful. Like, it's really hard to pick one, but I don't remember any of them being like, oh, that was fun to shoot. Because, you know, and then you got lonely, and like, I couldn't wait for every cut to take my boots off, and my feet just went whoosh. Those boots were awful. They were too small. They were pointy. They were high heeled. And those are the things that I remember. That's why the fans sometimes don't understand, like, how come you don't remember this? Because I'm remembering that my feet were killing me. That's what I remember. I had sand in my teeth. That's what I remember. I don't have the same experience.
I just have to give a shout out, and I think you're going to be excited. I think she's still on here. Nikki just dropped into the live stream. So, hi, Nikki Pettenberg.
Hey, hi, Mickey Mouse.
There we go. So last question for you,
Okay.
T. Your philosophy as a choreographer, are you choreographing the artist or are you choreographing moves? Like what's your philosophy when you're working with an artist?
You know, I'm always choreographing for the artist, but I'm choreographing for the song. What is the song saying? What does the song feel like? And then knowing everything I know about the artist, I can't do one without the other, right? So, and that's why I might choreograph the same process for every artist, but they don't look the same because they're different, right? So the choreography for Janet is going to be different than the choreography for Christina when they do it because they're different people. They have different personalities. They have different ways of performing. So for me, I always like to kind of choreograph the song as a whole, keeping in mind like the capabilities and the attitude of the person that I'm working with. So they kind of go hand in hand. So it never looks like I'm just putting on random choreography for the artist where they look uncomfortable. Because it's the most important thing for me is that the artists themselves look and feel good when they're doing the movement. And then everything else kind of can fall into place.
Amazing. Tina Landon, we love you so much. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you guys for coming. This is so much fun. We should do this more often, Kelly.
I'm happy to do it. So we'll set this up off air and we'll do it. And just a final reminder again to everyone that's tuned in, please don't forget that Dave Scott just dropped today on Just Dance. We also have Travis Payne, and the last two surprises to let you know for upcoming guests on Just Dance is going to be Brian Friedman, who everybody knows years, and he's danced with Janet as well. So he's going to join us. And also an amazing talent, Galen Hooks, is also going to be one of our guests on upcoming episodes of Just Dance. So please follow us, and we'd love for you to subscribe, hy.page/Kelly Alexander Show. And a big thank you, as always, to Tina Landon. I love you so much. Thanks, T, for doing this, and we will do another live stream soon.
Thanks, Kelly. I love you too. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Take care, everybody. Thank you. Have a great night. Bye-bye. Hey, it's Kelly, and I just want to take a moment to thank you so much for all of the support that you continue to show the Kelly Alexander Show and our latest program, Just Dance, that I co-host with award-winning choreographer Tina Landon. We've been having so much fun on Just Dance, and we'd love for you to be a part of it. We've done interviews with Brian and Scott Nicholson, who work with Ariana Grande, RJ and Nick, who work with Pink and Katy Perry, Luther Brown, who works with our girl Janet Jackson, and the list goes on and on. And we also have many surprises coming for you in this coming year. So please sign up and join us to have lots of fun. hy.page/Kelly Alexander Show, our YouTube channel as well, youtube.com/Kelly Alexander Show, and our newsletter, which is kellyalexandershow.com/subscribe.